same and I wanna meet up.
As you can see, that's I guess a 5-6 minute demonstration of some of what we can do with it. I noticed that our unit here, we didn't check, and the master on the input was set a little high, so I brought it down halfway through. But that gives you an overview as to what the product is capable of doing. There's probably many more things that can be talked about with regard to the unit, but if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And if not, I thank you for being able to talk about our product here for you today.
I've got a question.
Yes.
What's with the pilot protection? Is it switched off or?
No, this product, the clipping system that's in this is an early version of our digital clipping that we had before we started doing pilot protection. Now, on this, as you can see, the noise comes up to about -60, and as you'll see with Omnia 6 or the 11, it goes down to like just about theoretically down to like -80.
So you use FIR for that?
What's that?
You use FIR filtering on the pilot protection on an 11 or a 6?
All of them have FIR filtering.
Okay.
But the point though is that if you have noise that's 60 dB down, that's not going to cause any trouble on a transmission. Because, and by the way, I've had people argue this with me. If you were to take an old analog processor and put it up like any of our analog stuff or other people's analog stuff, there was never any protection that was below -45 for the pilot. And if radio worked just fine in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, and the pilot was only protected to -45, when people now say, but there's noise there at -60, I've yet to see any problem. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we will be adding some improvements to this later this year that will make that, the nice, clean, crystal clean valley that we now have in our newer products.
Cool, thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Yes.
The software is freely available.
I'm sorry, what's that?
The software you mentioned. Is
with this?
The next software. You can download it freely from the website.
For Omnia One, newer software will be later this year. Okay. I mean, we've had a lot of people ask us in the last year or so, are there any updates for Omnia One? Well, the reason we've had to say no is that there's basically a small team of us. There's myself, Cornelius Gould, and 4 other guys, and all of our efforts have been on the Omnia 11. And the only thing I'll say as a preface to the Omnia 11 is that our signal processing product prior to the 11, which is the 6, that platform, the firmware platform that it's built on dates all the way back to Omnia FM, okay? So we basically got as much out of that technology as possible. And I've had a couple of people say, well, some of the things that are going to be in the 11, why can't you put it in the 6? We don't have another cycle that we can fit in there. So the reason I say that is the Omnia 11, and the reason we've spent a lot of time this last year to get our version 1 software ready, is we started from scratch. Whereas we know there's some other products that are not as old, and they were able to build on a prior platform. The first time you launch anything new, like a new platform, it takes a lot of work. Reason for that is, and there's a good chance that most of this calendar year we're going to continue to be putting features in Omnia 11. We have plans for this, it's just that we're only so many people, and believe me, if I could, all the things that you're thinking you'd like to see in that product, whatever you're thinking, I would have liked to have had it done last year.
But this version you're showing now.
I'm saying I can barely. There's so many people.
This version you're showing now, it doesn't have the same features the version I'm using.
This will be available within the upcoming weeks. What you're getting is a preview of what we're going to show at NAB, National Association of Broadcasters, in Las Vegas. If you'd like, see me, give me a business card, and if you'd like to have a beta copy of this software, we'll get that to you. I mean, with that we can get to you in the next day or so. Okay. And by the way, if anyone here has an Omnia One and you'd like to play with this, see myself or Cornelius, get us an email address, we'll be happy to email it to you. And if you're wondering what's it going to cost for the added 5th band, I'm going to negotiate really difficult with all of you guys. €0. €0. Or if you want, how about €1,000,000 lira? Good, you got it. Because back at my office, people like to argue with me, and being of Italian descent, I'll say, you know what, that's going to cost you 500,000 lira. And they'll look at me like, you know. I think I've run out of time. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Thank you.